Hey guys, this is Quinn. Today's topic is, do you ever feel ashamed of your identity, and how do you deal with those feelings? And also, was it easy or difficult for you to accept your own identity, and what feelings or thoughts did it bring up for you? I will tackle the first subject first. Do I ever feel ashamed of my identity? Yes. It's not so prevalent anymore, but when I first was coming to terms with it, I had a lot of guilt. I basically felt really selfish because I thought that, this is one of the most selfish things I could do, telling people I was trans, that is, because I felt like it affected every single person I loved, and they would have to change their thoughts and their perceptions, even if they had no desire to, So I felt like my decision pretty heavily weighed on everyone else. And also, there is one thing that I haven't ever talked about on YouTube, even on my personal channel, that caused a lot of guilt for me, and that was when I first admitted to myself and to my wife that I was transgender. It was around the time that my wife and I had been trying to get pregnant, and due to some medical conditions, my wife can't carry, so I was the one trying to get pregnant, and we were doing an artificial insemination through an anonymous donor through a cryobank, and we had tried for about 6 months with no luck, and all the while, there was kind of this subconscious feeling in me that it just wasn't right for me, that it really, not that I didn't want a child, but I just had never had the desire to birth one. And so that really caused a lot of guilt for me as far as my wife's feelings, because I felt like, she wants, we both want a child really badly, but she wants a child more than anything else in this world. And I feel like I said, okay, I'll play ball, I'll give you one. But then, oh wait, never mind, I'm going to be a boy. Scratch that. I'm not going to get pregnant. And, that's caused I wouldn't say a lot of trouble in our relationship, because we have a good, communicative relationship. We're very honest and open with each other. We don't have a troubled relationship, but it's caused its fair share of grief. I'm not sure that we're exactly done dealing with that grief yet. There's still, some times where we'll be walking through a store and my wife Carrie will totally avoid the baby section or the kids' clothes and walk all the way around the store when, something she wants is right across the way through the kids section, because she just can't, deal with that yet. And, if a commercial comes on TV with babies in it, I see her tear up, and of course that makes me feel guilty, because I love her, and I feel like I kind of gave my word on something and then went back on it, and that's not how I operate. So, but I felt like I had to be true to myself, or I wouldn't be doing anyone any favors. So yeah, there's a lot of guilt there still. We just moved to Tampa, and I was packing up our stuff, and we had 2 things for the nursery that never quite got turned into a nursery, and, I had to decide, do I throw it away? Do I throw it away and not let her see? Do I keep it? It was just this little green giraffe statue that was going to be the first thing we ever bought for the baby, and I kept it because, it's still a possibility that we can have a child in the future. We are going to look into adoption once I'm able to pass and far enough along in my transition that I can have my gender changed, and legally we'll be a trans couple, and, sadly that gives us a slightly higher percentage in the state of Florida for adopting than if we were a lesbian couple. So yeah, there's a lot of guilt with that. And just dealing with gender and changing how you think of yourself, and actually, well, scratch that, not changing how you think of yourself, but actually finding the terminology and the vocabulary to define what you've always felt. For some reason, there's a sense of shame in that knowledge. Like, I don't know if it's a fear of not being loved or a fear of rejection. I don't know, but there definitely is some feelings of shame. I guess it's kind of like when I came out as a lesbian. You know, everyone thinks it's such a sin to be gay, and oh, you're going to go to hell, and the Bible says this and that. Well, you know, even if you don't believe it, you're going to feel like a sinner for a little bit because, you know, you listen to what people say, and even if you don't believe it, you know, how they look at you and how they perceive you kind of has an effect on how you feel about yourself. So I kind of attribute it to that. Was it easy for me to accept my identity? No. Looking back on it now, it seems like it wasn't that hard, because it wasn't that much of a stretch for me to say, you know, oh, I'm a really masculine female, I'm a butch lesbian, to, oh, I'm a boy. It just, you know, it didn't take a lot of imagination for me to make that leap about myself. Now, keep in mind, I'm only speaking personally about me. I'm not saying, you know, every butch lesbian is going to be a boy or something like that. But in my case, you know, it would have been harder for me to have accepted my change in identity had I been wearing dresses and makeup and heels beforehand. So it was hard to accept my identity. I struggled with it for a few months, and it got to the point where, you know, I just was so torn on, am I a boy, am I a girl, am I in between, like I don't know what to think about this shit. So finally I got professional help. I went to see a gender therapist, and she's been amazing. And that really helped to have someone there to listen, to validate what you feel and what you fear, and just to listen and to know you're not crazy and that you're not the only one that feels that way. And also, of course, YouTube helped. You know, I felt kind of like, I've kind of felt like a traitor in my own skin for most of my life. I always use the analogy when I walk into a women's bathroom, I feel like a traitor in the girls' room. And that's kind of the feeling I've had my whole life without being able to put a term to it or know what it was called or know why. And now that I know I am trans and that it is okay and that I'm not the only one, you know, I'm fine. Like, you know, every once in a while I might feel guilty because of like how I think my family might take it, because I have came out to all my friends, everyone on Facebook, my mother, and one cousin, but I haven't came out to my grandparents or my aunts and uncles, you know, so I do worry what they're going to think, and that does come with some sense of guilt for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on that, but I do plan on coming out to them soon, because in 2 weeks, or actually 1 week from today, I'll be getting my script for testosterone. And then I guess I'll just have to make an appointment with an endocrinologist and wait for that appointment. I'm not sure how it all works, but I'm excited. I'll be on T soon. So yeah, basically that's my video about guilt and accepting my identity. It's very important that you feel what you feel. You've got to allow yourself to be sad when you're sad, and you have to allow yourself to forgive yourself for things that you cannot help, because you can't help how you feel. You can't help what's true about you. You just have to live your truth and not regret it, and not feel bad about it, and not apologize to anyone for it, because you were born this way. And I believe that if anyone had a choice between having a hard life and an easier life, they would pick the easier life. Yeah, so that's about it. So if you're feeling guilty, you know, about who you are and how you feel feel those feelings, but don't ruminate in those feelings. Don't live in the house of sadness. Just visit it so that you'll be able to know what happiness feels like when that comes. That's about all I've got for you. Sorry I've rambled on for so long. See you guys next Tuesday.